Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to explain why I didn't take my latest new camera. Just got back from Prague last night, and why camera speed matters. Stay with me and I'll share my cameras of choice for my trip to the Czech Republic. And then coming up I'll mention 8 of my favourite cameras and why I need to pick the right camera for the job depending on the speed of the job. I'll explain. Hello, welcome, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So if you follow me on social media, you may have noticed that I recently picked up the super compact Intrepid Mark V. I think it's the Mark V, the latest version. I bought this camera especially for my overseas photo shoot trips and overseas shoots because it is really that small. So the question is, why did I leave this camera behind and take different cameras instead? Reason number one, as you probably know if you've ever shot with a 4x5 camera, 4x5 cameras are slow, and so you're going to get fewer shots in a X amount of time. And number two, you're not going to get natural spontaneous photos from a subject when shooting with 4x5. For this reason, faster, smaller cameras are better, and my kind of criteria for going for the Czech Republic were, number one, I was going for the Czech Republic purely to scout models and find hopefully new great models that I can then make portfolio quality images with, and then hopefully put those in the book at some point when I get time. So for that reason I was thinking about it and I was like, why go through all the kind of pain and suffering of such a slow process of 4x5 when it's a brand new model? They don't really know what I'm doing, they've never met me before, and so why kind of struggle and maybe get, I don't know, perhaps 3 or 4 good portraits within a 2 to 3 hour time period when I could shoot something faster and get hopefully maybe 10 plus great portraits from the same time period. So for that reason, as much as it kind of paid me to leave my new favourite toy behind, as I say, the Intrepid, it just didn't make sense for this trip. And I think the second point that kind of really put the nail in the coffin, as it were, the day before I wanted to do some photos of my parents because, like all of us, we're getting older, and we never really take family photos, so I wanted to get a photo of my mum and my dad in the same picture. So I was like, right, I'll take my new Intrepid 4x5 and I'll get a really nice photo of them on 4x5 film, and then I'll just pack my Hasselblad just in case as like a backup option. Now, like me, my parents also hate having their photographs taken, so they're not the perfect sitters when it comes to models. And so first I shot the photo with a 4x5 and it looks worse than a passport photo because they're like sitting there for so long. It's like, can I move yet? Can I move yet? For that reason, the 4x5 photo looked absolutely rubbish. And then it's my goal as a portrait photographer to pull the best out of everybody and actually get them relaxed and get them looking at their best selves. And so then I shot the same picture with the Hasselblad and I was joking around. It's like, come on, smile, pretend you're enjoying yourselves, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't superposed or anything like that. I just tried to get a really natural shot of both of them. This photo was shot with the Hasselblad, and despite it not being an overly fast camera, you can see the difference in spontaneous smile compared to non-spontaneous with a 4x5. So a combination of the slow setup time of the 4x5 camera, meaning fewer shots, the worry of not getting good spontaneous expressions from new models, number two, and number three, it's a lot of kit to carry, I'm not going to lie. Yes, the camera's small, but I wanted to shoot proper 4x5 sheet film, not a 120 back this time, and so then I needed to carry multiple film holders, pack of film, tripod, etc, etc, etc. So for those 3 reasons, I left my Intrepid 4x5 camera at home, and instead my cameras of choice for Prague with as I say, the criteria were make as good as possible model portraits to put in a book and for my portfolio. So all the cameras I could choose from, and if you see my recent videos I've got a few. My camera of choice was, any guesses? It is a Hasselblad H2, which is a 645 medium format autofocus film camera. 645 for me is a sweet spot between 35mm and bigger film formats in terms of it gives you enough resolution for like a high-end looking picture, yet it's economical enough to shoot models and kind of get a bit of spontaneous photos, and it's autofocus, so you can kind of nail the shots as soon as they do something good. So for this reason, this is my first choice for kind of portfolio work. When I think of all the best images I've done in the past in terms of resolution and hopefully nice pictures, this is a really good camera. If you want to see a photographer that does amazing work with a Hasselblad H camera, check out Peter Coulson. If you've seen my old videos, we hooked up last year. He invited me to meet up. Peter's an awesome guy, and his favourite camera is the H6. I think he's actually got 3 now. Peter's using it with a digital back, but I'm using it with a film back. Now I have my bag with me. So my bags for Prague, I always carry my 18 litre Wotan Craft for all my overseas trips, because it's a small rucksack which fits under the seat in front of me, meaning I can carry it for free. I then put a 3.5 litre pilot bag inside the top of this, and then that's my day bag, and it gives me more capacity when I get to the other end. I can put a link to those bags below. They're absolutely amazing. What am I doing? Amazing. So this is my pilot bag, and I'm going to tell you in no particular order my cameras of choice. So the Hasselblad H2 is fast, but as you probably know, most medium format cameras have a maximum aperture lens of f2.8. I don't want to travel with high ISO films because high ISO films get damaged in transit, like through the airports with these scanners, especially with CT scanners. So I needed a 35mm setup which would accept high quality fast lenses, and there's only really one choice, isn't there? The only choice for fast glass that works at its maximum aperture for me is, of course, Leica M cameras. So I actually took my M4P this time, not my M6, because I was using the Voigtlander Nocturne 75 1.5 lens. The M4P's got a 75mm frame line, so I can compose easily. The M3 doesn't, so that's why I went for the M4P. So this is my compact low light camera of choice, this or the Leica M3, both very compact, and also the lens is very compact. You can see the difference in size, it's quite dramatic. SLR cameras are great, but they're not great for me at wide apertures because you don't nail the focus wide open on an SLR camera for me compared to a M camera. So that's why I went with the M camera. Then I also want to do a bit of running in the morning, a bit of running kind of exploring. It's a good way for me to explore a new city and either look for locations for models or look for, I don't know, just for my own interest to run around. So I needed a fast to use, super compact, super lightweight camera. What would you choose? Comment below. Film, because I'm not interested in digital, as I said again in the previous video. My camera of choice is, it's got to be vibration proof because I'm running. It's got to be light, compact, small, and ideally high quality and a joy to use. That of course only means one thing. My camera of choice for speed for non-portraits is my 1931 Leica Barnack camera with a 40mm f2.8 Helia lens, which is a screw mount modern lens, give me the combination of film yet great optics. Then does scale focus, and it slips into my back pocket in my running belt. Amazing camera, and it's a joy to use, and it's just a joy to hold it in front of your face. If anybody sees you, they're like, ooh, cool camera. So camera of choice for speed and compact for non-portraits. Finally, I needed a digital setup for speed. As you know, I'm not really into my digital, but I needed it for portraits. And normally for portraits, I would use the Leica SL in the UK, but the Leica SL is a bit too big for my style of packing. So for that reason, I needed something smaller than an SL. But in this instance, I needed full frame because I wanted to try to give the model that full frame, shallow depth of field look. Normally I would take my Leica CL as my camera of choice for a small setup, but today, or this trip, I took my Leica M10. Now again, going back to the speed aspect, if I want a super fast street setup, I would use an M10, not an SL, not a CL, not even my Q. My main camera of choice is a Leica M10 now. I was using an M240 with something like a 25 f4 snapshot scope R lens, zone focus, and it's way faster than trying to nail focus with an autofocus lens. So small compact lens on this camera. This is my camera of choice for speed when shooting street stuff. As I say, I was actually using it mostly for portraits, but I was using it to test a vintage Nikkor lens. Maybe I'll bring up some footage, and maybe I'll share that in a future video. Okay, so the cameras that I showed you, those are my cameras of choice when it comes to speed for overseas trips. If I want to do high quality, good photos with models in the UK, my cameras of choice would be the Leica SL for digital photos. And then for film, my camera of choice is the Nikon FM3A with motor drive. So I like the Nikon F series cameras when I'm using flash, say in the studio, such as here, because they're just more flash friendly than M cameras. I know you know all this already, so I won't get into the details, but you can sync flash faster and things like that. And the motor drive is really nice when you're working quickly with a good model, because instead of having to go click, advance, click, you can just go click, 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 which can be really cool if you're kind of going through a series of amazing pictures and they're just doing everything right. It's like bang, 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 bang. Or if I wanted something even faster, arguably faster, and I was happy to use an autofocus lens, then I would go for something like the Nikon F5, which is an absolute tank in its autofocus and auto advance. So those are my when speed matter cameras for my portraiture. But fast doesn't always matter. Yes, in certain model situations when I'm on the clock and I've got to get a job done, I've got to get the best pictures I can from a model within, say, 2 hours, speed matters. There's no question. However, sometimes it's actually nice to like slow right down and actually just enjoy life. There's a strong argument that you can do that with any of these cameras. You can walk around the streets and just every half an hour go click, nice, and then a bit further click. And you could do that with an M camera, a Leica 3 camera, or any really camera. But it comes down to me to what you enjoy in photography. Do you enjoy the final photo? One extreme, you only care about the final photo, you don't care about anything else. For that reason, I would probably choose an iPhone as maybe the best camera, and then maybe something like a little Ricoh, or what else do people use? Fuji X100, these fast point and shoot cameras that people love for street photography. If the end goal is only the final picture, get a super fast auto everything camera, and then you'll get your final picture because you can just go bang, 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 bang. And then one of that series of 10 shots you just took will be the correct shot of the person's legs just correctly striding out as they step over the puddle or cross the street or whatever. That's one extreme. The other extreme is you enjoy the process. And so an absolutely super clear example of this is 4x5. If I want a simple 4x5 setup, and especially if I want an overseas simple 4x5 setup, I would take the Intrepid, which I now have. And then if I wanted something more Leica-like, let's say you could kind of merge the two. Let's say you could blend the two together, like the ultimate precision and build quality of a Leica into a 4x5 Intrepid. What would you end up with? You would end up with a camera that you recommended to me in my 20 favourite cameras video, which is the Linhof. So if I had an ultimate camera for slow day out, maximum enjoyment factor, there's a strong argument you probably have Linhof number 1, and then something like my MPP or one of my other 4x5 cameras number 2, where it's precise but a bit heavier and not quite as minimal as the little Intrepid. So this is me shooting my Intrepid in the woods last weekend, and I think I shot 7 photos in, I think it was 3 hours. I can put a link to this video below because I didn't put it on YouTube, but I did put it on Patreon. It is free access on Patreon, so you can follow me on Patreon for free and watch any of my open access content. That video, it just shows me my face like smiling corner to corner. I had such a great morning shooting those 7 photos, and it's because I enjoyed the process, because it was slow. If I'd taken this camera, I could have shot the same photos in the first 10 minutes if I'd run around probably, and I would have been home within the hour. So for that reason, I'm trying to explain, as I learn photography for myself, yes, speed matters for my portraits, but sometimes it is nice to slow down. Maybe you enjoy the slower process style of photography. In that case, you might love 4x5. I'm not bigging up 4x5, I'm just saying what I'm enjoying at the moment. Equally, if the final picture is important and you find you're not getting the photos you want because you're too slow, there is an argument that you might want a faster camera. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you prefer the final result, or do you prefer the process, or you like somewhere in the middle? If you want one in the middle camera where it's fun to enjoy and it's neither super fast nor super slow, I'd probably use something like my Hasselblad 500 CM. Great fun to use. It's a high quality, nice camera, and it gives you amazing pictures. Talking of cameras, if you ever visit Prague, I just want to give a huge shout out to Photo Skoda. This is the shop that I visited yesterday for the first time. I have the bag to prove it. I bought some film and photo paper for my darkroom printing. This is not a sponsored video, but I got such a warm and positive experience from that shop. I highly, highly recommend it. It's probably the best camera shop I've ever visited in terms of selling both Leica stuff for those of you really into your Leica things, and also any other film stuff, so 35mm, medium format and large format. And then they sell paper, chemicals, film, everything. And then they've also got kind of gallery images, photos from great photographers up on the walls as well. If you ever visit Prague, definitely check them out. Next time I'm going to go with a bit of space in my bag, and maybe I'll pick up one of their film cameras. As always, thanks for watching, and a huge thanks to my amazing patrons.